I'd like to start by thanking the Albuquerque branch of the Party for Socialism and Liberation for all their hard work in organizing this amazing conference, hosting all of us, and being a light of hope for workers' struggle in what we call the U.S. Southwest. This conference is firmly rooted within the tradition of centuries of struggle in what we call the U.S. Southwest, and it is an honor to be here and to be asked to give this talk. I was floored when I was asked to give this talk because I have no traditional qualifications. I'm a dishwasher, and I make minimum wage. I work in a hot, dirty kitchen where I and my coworkers are not asked for our thoughts, hopes, or desires. I don't have years of schooling, a college degree, a talent for theory, or any other special qualifications. I am merely one worker out of so many millions who believes that we cannot go on as we have, who sees the contradictions daily, and who wishes to do something about the fact that very many of us work so hard for so little, and with no guarantee of health, housing, or comfort. The PSL is composed of many workers just like me, and I remain so grateful to have a voice, to be considered more than just unskilled labor, and to be able to be a part of the movement that is fighting for the socialism which will eventually give us workers the things that we deserve in life. As a part of PSL, I am going to be presenting on the service industry and its unique issues and injustices. We are seeing a growing trend in the workforce. The economy is being restructured. Machines are replacing industrial jobs by the thousands. This is leading to a reorientation of the workforce where workers are being pushed into a fast-growing service industry. Huge parts of what we would have been considered middle-class jobs are now being replaced with low-wage service industry jobs, essentially eliminating the so-called middle class. Even the majority of jobs created under the Obama administration were part-time service industry jobs that did not provide any benefits or protections. In recent years, the service industry has been the sector of the workforce where we have seen militant struggles for unions, higher wages, and better working conditions. The service industry includes a variety of jobs, ranging from hotel workers to food and retail, to teachers and healthcare workers. This sector of the working class holds one of the greatest potentials for organizing and to fight back. So, what are the features of this huge sector of the working class? When mainstream historians speak of labor history, they speak of it when they speak of it at all. They tell us that labor struggles in the previous centuries won us the 8-hour day. Anyone who has ever worked in the service industry knows that for the most part, the 8-hour day is indeed history. Yeah. Whether it is getting insufficient hours at one job and needing to pick up 1, 2, or 3 extra jobs just to break even, or working incredibly long and hard shifts in order to have enough money to pay for basic necessities, workers are being exploited day in and day out. The thought of guaranteed health care, sick days, paid vacations, and maternity or paternity leave is still a dream to most in the service industry. Many workers in the food industry are forced to show up for work while sick, because for workers living paycheck to paycheck, missing a shift is simply not an option. The gains supposedly won for all workers by the brave struggles of the labor movement are continuously being rolled back, and for large parts of the workforce, these gains were never won at all. It is no secret that the division of labor in the Southwest is extremely racialized, and in most areas, the backbone of the service industry workforce is made up of immigrants and other oppressed peoples. While the more lucrative front-of-house jobs typically go to Anglo workers, the more dangerous jobs, like hot and dirty kitchen jobs, are typically only given to workers from oppressed nationalities. Intentionally, division is created between workers within the same workplace by employers. Consequently, pervasive racism and wage gaps are used to restrict workers from uniting to fight for better working conditions. The threat of deportation or termination keeps many undocumented workers afraid to speak up against the poor working conditions. Overt exploitation of immigrant labor all across the service industry is more the rule than the exception. And in areas like ours, where large parts of the population are composed of immigrant, indigenous, and other nationally oppressed peoples, the mechanisms of oppression are that much more severe. It is easy to see how this climate of fear works to benefit bosses and owners of the businesses that exploit our labor. The history of union busting in the Southwest continues to make workplace organizing more and more difficult. Right-to-work laws, specifically crafted to benefit the owners and bosses and to prevent unionization, have dealt severe blows to any sort of labor struggle in our region. Capitalists' ability to terminate an employee for no stated reason create a climate of fear where many workers are afraid to even bring up the word union, let alone talk about actually organizing one. Despite this, and even in the face of anti-worker laws, we are seeing change on the horizon. Earlier this year in my state, Arizona, an unprecedented workout by teachers and students demanded better pay and better funding, led to tens of thousands of teachers to walk out. To bring attention to their plight. These teacher strikes in Arizona and across the country are a sign that our movement is growing in strength and support. Under conditions like these that we face as service workers, it sometimes seems far too easy to see our situation as hopeless and to feel we will remain a permanent underclass at the mercy of the greed and cruelty of the capitalist class and their courts, police, and migra. However, history has shown that it is precisely the people that have the power to change the situation for the better. For hundreds of years, all across the world, workers just like us have banded together, said enough, and organized to make life livable for our families and ourselves. History has also shown that our victory is inevitable if we persevere, organize, sacrifice, and agitate. We must never forget that workers make society function. We plant, harvest, cook, feed, and clean up after the entire population. Our labor is not only lowly, it is essential, and without us nothing would function. It is the labor and stolen wages of the working class that creates all profits for the capitalist class. We are the engine of history, and it is time to take the controls and steer it for ourselves. A better world is possible, and it is up for us to win it. I believe that we can, and I believe that we will, comrades. Service workers hold more power than anyone can ever imagine, and workers' power is the only thing that can bring us socialism. Let's organize to make our power known.